Okay. Hi, everybody. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Richa, and I'm representing the Cal Poly Data Science Club.
And hi, my name is Zahir, and I am the president of the Quantitative Analysis Club.
Thanks for coming to our joint meeting. Okay, continue.
All right, Michaela, Adrian, Conan, you guys can introduce yourselves.
All right, I'm Conan. I'm the vice president of Quantitative Analysis Club.
My name is Michaela, and I'm the director of outreach of Quantitative Analysis Club.
My name is Adrian, and I'm the director of member experience at the Quantitative Analysis Club.
All right, so the Quantitative Analysis Club was founded in fall 2020 as a concentration club. So for many of you guys who don't know, in OCOB, they have concentrations, and there's a club for each concentration except for quantitative analysis. So Quantitative Analysis Club was founded as kind of like a place for people who are concentrating in quantitative analysis. And it's also kind of a place for people who are just interested in analytics. So what are some of the things that we do? We provide counseling to our members. So quantitative analysis, like I said, it's a relatively new concentration. So not a lot of people know too much about it. And also it's very open-ended. You get to choose a lot of your classes. So for people that are looking for advice on what classes to choose and which kind of paths they want to take, it's a great place to just talk to other students and get their experiences. And one other thing we do is have a lot of professional speakers come in and talk to our club. And it's really cool. And the point of this is to connect club members with industry professionals. And it's cool because you get to hear a lot about the day in the life of a professional and what they do and how it is to work at some of those companies. So some of the speakers that we had in the past are the Lakers, Nike, EY, the Federal Reserve, and Deloitte. And one of the other things we do is host workshops. So for a lot of jobs and internships for quantitative analysis positions, they kind of require a base set of certain skills and softwares like Tableau, Power BI, Excel, things like that. So what we try to do is just kind of teach the basics of those and kind of get your foot in the door. That way, when you show up for the interview, you have the basics and you can talk a little bit about it. And it's a great starting point to kind of just learn more on your own too. So yeah.
All right, so a little bit about CPDS is we're a relatively new club. We actually just started this winter. So this quarter was our first quarter operating as a full club. And our main mission for this club was really creating a sense of community amongst students at Cal Poly who are interested in data science. So we do have a data science minor at Cal Poly, but if some of you have researched that and know that it's a full 80 units if you're not a statistics major or if you're not a computer science major. And that's not really feasible or practical for everybody, but there is a large population of students who are interested in data science that want to be more involved with data science. And so we thought this club was a great way to make data science more accessible for other majors, all types of people, and things like that. So some of the things that our club does is, like Kanan said, we have we bring in speakers. We had PhD data science students, Cal Poly alumni come talk about their research experience. We have industry professionals come talk about their industry experience with data science, just providing basically a place for students to be able to network with alumni data science students and professors and learn about data science opportunities happening at Cal Poly, like the fellowship and things like that. Another thing that we do is we host workshops, and this is something that we've been pretty consistent with this quarter. We also introduce technical skills in our workshops. So we had a SQL workshop this quarter, we did a pandas workshop. And on top of that, we do internship prep workshops. So we'll have mock interviews. If you want, you can come to our workshop and we'll have officers go through interview questions with you and just the interview process with you to help you prepare for whatever interview that you are working towards. Another workshop that we are going to be introducing next quarter is we're actually going to have data science projects. So we have project leads selected and projects that are being formed right now for members to be able to work through with the project leads next quarter. Just if you're not a data science student and if you want to get a foot in the door with data science, practice it more, this is a great way to do that. So.
Okay, so I don't know about any of you guys, but at least for me, when I say that I am a quantitative analysis concentration, I get a lot of weird looks. People oftentimes don't really understand exactly what that means. So the way that I break it down usually is by separating it into two different kind of concepts. The first one being consulting, and the second one being the more technical analysis side of it. So with the consulting part, basically what this means is that if you're going into quantitative analysis, you kind of need to be a middleman between the technical experts or the data science people or the analysts and then the business people, the upper level management that maybe doesn't really understand exactly what's happening behind the scenes. So here's a few things that in the consulting aspect of it, you need to pay attention to. So the first one is being able to look at problems from a quantitative perspective. So that means that you need, while you're doing the consulting, you need to have that understanding of what the technical side is actually doing. You need to be able to look at it from their lens. The second thing is having the ability to understand the client's problems and be able to express solutions. So that's kind of the business side of it. You need to really understand what the client wants, how they are trying to fix their problem, and then be able to use the insights from the data analysis to kind of help them solve those problems. And the third thing is that analysis happens in the background and you should be able to explain the process. So I kind of already mentioned this, but basically you need to be able to understand enough of what's happening in the technical side that you can kind of dumb it down and explain it to people who don't really understand what's happening. And then the second part of quantitative analysis is the actual technical part of it. This is needed in every field. No matter where you go, there's going to be data analysis happening somewhere there. And what that kind of includes is things like forecasting trends. You want to be able to create models. You want to be able to predict market conditions using historical data. So just even in like a few days ago, I was talking to an upper level management guy and he was showing me his like forecasting of, you know, what the salespeople were going to do based off of historical data. It's very common. It happens everywhere. And there is still some human to human aspect of this position. Just because you're in an analyst role doesn't mean you're behind a desk all day. So you do need to have kind of both the consulting and the analytical sides to it. So yeah, if anyone asks you what quant is, you can kind of break it down this way. That's kind of the best way I can describe it.
Cool. So data science key concepts would kind of be on the other end of that spectrum, I guess, where it's more dealing with the cleaning and analysis and has less, there's still some human to human contact and like explanation that needs to be done, but it's more on the technical side, back end kind of side. So I guess we can break it down into two main parts. And then once we go into the career paths, we can see like a more clear like career path connection for data science. But there's the cleaning/analysis part. So data scientists need to be able to take a set of data and organize it so that it can be analyzed. A lot of what goes into data science is just dealing with this like giant group of data and like organizing it, cleaning it so that's actually able to be analyzed and you're able to get some kind of useful information from it. Again, you have to then go and create models with this data and have an understanding of what your data is, what you're working with. So that's like domain knowledge. And because data is everywhere, it's in like all fields, data scientists can really be working in any field. They can be working in like the business side or the scientific side. Just having that domain knowledge of what kind of data you're working with is also important for a data scientist. And then you can also take like an engineering aspect to data science, which is like involves prepping data, maintaining data pipelines, getting data to actual analysts, and constructing and testing ways to get data to analysts. And then you can also go into the MI/AI/ML aspect of data science, which I'll go into a little bit more later. So yeah, here's just like a little chart that shows some conceptual overlap between quantitative analysis and data science. In both fields, as we saw, there was like a lot of analytics, forecasting, modeling. It is data driven. You need to be able to translate those models to people who don't understand maybe all the statistical terminology, and you need to be able to interpret the data.
So I'll talk a little bit more, or we'll talk about the career path now. Kind of like how we saw with the different aspects to quantitative analysis, there are these different career paths that you can take. We've just listed 3 right now on the slide, but of course, any analyst position or any position that deals with data or some sort of analytics is something that is applicable using your quantitative analysis background. So the first one that we listed here is quantitative consultant. And what you essentially need is a good understanding of how different systems are implemented. So these different companies that are out there, they don't all use the same, data software, or they don't store the data in the same place. So you need a good understanding of how they do that. And you need to be able to switch quickly from these different processes, since as a consultant, you're usually on a project for a pretty short amount of time, which is usually less than 6 months. And then oftentimes you're also working on multiple projects at the same time. So just making sure you're organized and you have that idea in your mind that versatility that you can actually switch from different systems and understand how different systems work in a quick environment. And then also you got to be able to visualize the data in a digestible way, because oftentimes with consulting, you're talking to those, like Michaela mentioned, you're talking to those more technical people, and then presenting the results that you get with the analysis that you do to upper level management. And oftentimes upper level management doesn't really have a good understanding of how these statistical tools work, or even like the basic statistical concepts. So you need to be able to visualize the data and then also be able to explain it in a way that they can understand it in a short amount of time. Because one thing that I've realized from some of my work experience is that they want to get to the point as quick as possible. So that's one thing that you got to keep in mind when being a quantitative consultant. And then one fun aspect to that career path is that you get to travel a lot. So oftentimes you're going out to client sites, working in the client's building or headquarters or wherever you may be stationed. And you'll be talking, like I said, you'll be in meetings just like you're an employee at that company. So that's one cool aspect of that. And then the second big career path is analyst career path. So this is more deeply rooted in statistical theory, as you'll be but it's less versatile than if you were a quantitative consultant, because you'll be working for one company and just doing analysis for that company. With that being said, you can be in any sort of industry, whether that be sports, risk, law, like was mentioned before, or anything that has some sort of numbers to it is something that you can analyze. And with technology becoming more and more complex, the amount of data available to businesses is just going to increase, and therefore the analyst role is going to go under, or is going to require, or is going to be under heavy demand in the next few years for sure. And then this is oftentimes the most common route. So what a lot of people can do is they can either go into consulting or the financial sector and then switch to an analyst role. But those other 2 positions let you get a good idea of what industries you're interested in. And then the last main career path is the econ and financial sector. So this entails like working for a bank, working for a venture capital firm, or any institution that deals with money or some sort of financial transactions. And then with this, you need a good understanding of the interest rates, the bonds, the tax rates, and other finance basics. So with this, you're going to need to at least have taken some financial classes and get a good understanding of how finance works in the US. And then, of course, if we want to work for an international bank or an international financial firm, you would need a good understanding of how these different economies work in different countries as well. And with this, you would probably be using a lot of forecasting algos, and then like using historical financial data to kind of predict the future market conditions.
Okay, so for the data science career path, there's actually this really great graphic, which maybe I can share some way later, that kind of breaks down the data science career path into 3 parts. So there's a data engineer, the data analyst, and then there's machine learning engineers. So a data engineer basically goes out, collects and cleans the data, again, organizing that data. They're the ones that are developing and constructing the data pipelines to actually get the data to the analysts. They typically work in teams, and then their project lengths will depend on the type of project. Then you have the data analyst. So the data analyst is going to be doing the cleaning and conducting the exploratory analysis on the data, and it's mostly rooted in like statistical theory, and basically they forecast desired end results. So if like upper level management tells you, hey, this is what I want to find out, data analyst is gonna build those figures and those models to basically explain how to get to that end result, the best way to do so. And then you have your machine learning engineers. So these machine learning engineers basically are involved with model building and deployment. They're data wranglers, meaning that they're dealing with large amounts of data, and they create like long-term solutions to domain problems by creating and implementing models. And machine learning engineers are based in a lot of technical skills. So you got to have good like computer science skills for that. And if any other officers wants to speak on any particular aspect of this career path from data science, you can feel free to do so if I'm missing anything.
Yeah, I think one thing to add is that a lot of these data science related positions, even quant, it's a lot of overlap. So one data science position at one company is not going to entail the same responsibilities at another. Like larger companies tend to break it up into very specific roles. Smaller companies, a data scientist will be doing everything on the like data lifestyle path. So yeah, just know that definitions change and to read the job description before applying, because like the textbook definition could be different depending on what company you're working at.
Cool. So this is just another like overlap chart, analyzing risk and other quantifiable industry specifics, interpretability of data, and being able to explain data to upper management, and just being able to forecast and desire. So quant and data science basically have a lot of overlap, especially in terms of like data analysis and things like that.
I guess I'll take this one. Quantitative analysis and data science right now is of course like a hot topic, and there's some buzzwords associated with it when it comes to like the resume or job descriptions. But there's some reason behind it. Analysis will be needed more in the future than ever. Like I said, the Internet of Things and everything being integrated into technology will just increase the supply of data, and therefore the demand of analysis will increase as well. Just a simple economic theory there. And then as traditionalists begin to retire, these traditionalists are people who rely more on instinct and gut feeling rather than data. And this can be seen if you watch Moneyball. You can see that in sports, like before, that they were just kind of going off of these more qualitative aspects of players. But what ended up being the most successful was looking at the data and how these players performed. So that's kind of a trend that's been going on in all industries, when these traditionalists who are now in the upper level management tend to override decisions made by these analysts, and resulting in not the best business decisions. So as these traditionalists retire, these more analytical focused or analytical oriented leaders will take their place, and they'll want more analysts on their like lower level teams. So therefore, more analysts will be needed in every industry. And then the problems that we're facing now will require data to solve. Global warming, which is a big one, is going to require lots of data and lots of analysis on how we can reduce emissions and capture carbon. Going to Mars, of course, like launching a rocket into space requires some sort of data. And then also feeding the Earth and making sure that everyone has enough food and that our hunger problem is reduced as much as possible will also require a lot of data around farming, planting, and also harvesting crops as well.
Yeah, so when wanting to know kind of like how to get your foot in the door, Cal Poly does offer a lot of resources as well as events that really prepare students and get them the internship that they might be looking for or that full-time job. As listed here, some things are the OCOB Professional Academic Advisors. This is open to all Cal Poly students, whether you're an comp sci major or maybe OCOB student. The drop-in hours are from Monday to Thursday at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. There's also Cal Poly Career Services, which have drop-ins from Mondays at 5 to 6 p.m. and Tuesdays 6 to 7. And not to mention, great ways are just going on Handshake, LinkedIn, maybe even Glassdoor, and looking for like internships and job postings. You never know when a company might be looking for a specific hire. Another thing, if you're an OCOB student, is a career peer advising. Career peer advising essentially gets you ready for that interview or gets you ready for that resume that you might be submitting, helps you write that cover letter. So they're super helpful in that case. And peer advising is a little different. That's more based on your course path at Cal Poly. But if you have any questions about that, you can contact them. There is also a spring career fair coming up on April 14th to 15th. A lot of companies go to that. So that's a great time to, even if you're a freshman, to just meet recruiters, talk to them, and strike up that conversation that might lead to an internship. And yeah, honestly, just network all the time, network anytime you can. You never know when a conversation could really lead to an internship or an opportunity that you might be looking for. So yeah, for the next slide, feel free to join us and reach out to us. On the QUAC side here, our Instagram is Cal Poly QUAC. You can scan the QR code for the mailing list, or the mailing list is also in the code right there. To communicate with us as well, we have a Slack channel where we post internships, updates on upcoming events and everything. So the Slack channel is in the chat as well. And if you are wondering oh, I missed a meeting or I missed a workshop, like how can I rewatch that? We do have a YouTube channel where we record all our meetings, and that is posted in